Real quick, I
Joe,
also wanted to
hold on.
talk.
Joe, did you just call yourself a bear?
What?
Did you call yourself a bear?
I'm not. I didn't say anything.
We weren't recording. Now everyone's gonna think I'm crazy.
Bradley, what the fuck are you talking about?
Say your thing.
No, that was really rude of you to just accuse Joe of saying things as I was talking.
Yeah, whatever.
uh,
There.
just you just said it again.
What are you talking about, Willer?
I mean, that was Pennywise. I watched it too. Actually, I watched it 1 and 2 last week because I hadn't seen 1, and I got invited to watch 2, so I was like, okay, I gotta watch 1 as well. It was on my to watch list. The It franchise is interesting to me because
All
it's
two movies of this franchise.
the two movies of this massive I mean, they makes a lot of money, so it's franchise worthy. There might I could see them doing a chapter 3, which brand new original stuff.
No, they're not gonna do that.
Oh, that's where you're wrong, buddy.
That's where they do the middle part.
No, that'd be terrible. That actually could not work. Maybe if with a new cast. Anyways, these It movies, I don't find them scary at all. In fact, It 2, everyone was cracking up the whole time.
I mean,
It's a
yeah, funny movies.
it's a very comedic movie. I watched It 1 by myself, so I wasn't cracking up. I was just kind of watching. But what it does have is really, really strong imagery, with the exceptions of when it has really dumb CGI. But aside of those times, it has really good imagery. Um, where like this just looks disturbing. Like from the first movie, for example, I'm gonna go spoiler free here because Bradley has a really big date this weekend to watch It 2.
Very
So
excited.
I don't want to spoil it. But for the first one, like an example would be it opening his mouth to like hypnotize Bev with the deadlights, or when he dances and his head is like still, but like his body is moving, or just fucking anytime he has a balloon, it looks really cool. Like just all these cool shots. There's a lot of weird tilted angles and like cool zoom ins into like the creepy areas. It's just visually speaking, they're really cool movies. Um, It 1, I really like the kids for the most part. Really good actors, all of them. The only ones I didn't care for a few of them. Like for example, Mike doesn't exist in It 1. Like he is not a character. He's just there.
Yeah,
Right.
and that really made me sad because a lot of people were really angry about that because he's actually like supposed to be really central to the story, especially if you saw the like the old school It or
Yeah.
Yeah.
It books. I think they gave a lot of his like roles in the story to other characters.
Which is interesting. At least I will say, like in part 2, he is way more important. I
Yeah.
really liked him in part 2.
Sweet.
The character I really don't like, and I've never seen someone share this opinion, is I can't stand Richie.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
I don't like that kind of person. He's fucking annoying. He's cracking jokes when it's supposed to be serious. He's immature, and they're kids, right? Like that's the point. I just bringing it on to 2. In 2, every character is just the same fucking person. They've barely changed, and you get just a little glimpse of how their lives are different in the beginning, and then they get back to Derry, and it's just like Richie never changed. He always cracked inappropriate jokes. He was always an asshole. How he made friends like outside of his childhood group, I would never know.
Well,
If Richie,
obviously it's because everyone likes him, except for Willer. That's how we made friends.
if Richie was a child today, he would be doing Fortnite memes every sentence. Like, I don't like people whose personalities are jokes. And that's because, there's a reason for that. Like, he's a character who's insecure, but you don't really get to see that in It 1. You get to see more of it in It 2, where it worked better. He's a much better character in It 2, but in It 2, I can't fucking stand him because on a narrative role, he ruins the movie.
Everyone
where-
turned off our podcast.
No, they didn't. I'm gonna talk about the good characters right after this. Like, anytime there could be a scary scene in It 2, Richie will crack a joke. And way more than even in the first movie. And it's just... You're killing the tone. You're making this more of an adventure movie than it needs to be.
Well, it's supposed to be an adventure story, right?
Well, it's marketed also as a big horror movie, so it's supposed to be both. And it fails to be one of them, in my opinion. The characters are really like in the first movie. My favorite character is probably Eddie. I thought he had a really fun arc. He's really funny. He's got really good mannerisms. The actor they got him for 2 is spot on the mannerisms, but I feel like they write him terribly in Act 2, where he's just a bumbling comic relief. But then you get characters like, I think Bill is the best character probably in both of the movies.
Oh, I think he's always been my favorite.
I mean, of course, they go a long way to like write him to be the best character. Him and Bev, right? They're like 2 of my favorites because they give them so much to work with. I feel like it also really shows in the second one. Like, they're both still like some of the more interesting characters. With that being said, like, all the characters have really good dynamics with each other. Like, that's I think everyone's favorite part of the movie is just the characters kind of just shooting the shit, kind of picking on each other, making jokes, showing affection. The movies have a really positive outlook on friendship, which I really like. It's different, for a scary movie to be like kind of positive that way. It's just refreshing. I'd probably give them both a 3 out of 5, which is not bad at all. They just they're good movies. One has like a better atmosphere. It's tenser the whole way through, but I think 2 has a better plot, even though it's like a little more crazy. Pennywise is the kind of character who I think gets scarier when you know more about him. There's some characters where it's like, oh, the more mysterious they are, the scarier they are. But I feel like putting into context what it truly is, like, is more terrifying than anything, and exploring that I thought was really interesting. So they kind of even out to me as far as scoring goes. But yeah, that's what I have on the It's good movies. Definitely check them out. I think a lot of people will enjoy them. I feel like the second one is less enjoyed overall than the first, from what I saw from like the reviews and the discussions. But I also saw a lot of people who really like it.
I know at least for the OG the general opinion is that people like the kid half of the story more.
Part of that must
we'll see if it goes like that for this too.
I think part of that must be because kids are more vulnerable and scared. But adults, they can be braver, So from that lens, I feel like things can be kind of twisted. It also doesn't help that there was some weird scares in this one where it's like, that was weird. Also, the whole like middle half of the movie really drags on. But like the beginning and ends are fairly strong, so that makes up for it. But I feel like to make up for that, I feel like the way it should be structured is the first one's the scary one because it's children and they're getting traumatized. And I would have really, really liked to see the second one dive into more psychological stuff. Like, I really want to see how that trauma really fucked up these adults, and you only get a little bit of that. But I feel like that's where you would go with that kind of story, right? Like, you get trauma and fear, and then what it's like to live after the fact, which is what I really like about a TV show called The Haunting on House Hill, because that show is a show about people after the haunting.
Yeah, I heard that was like an amazing show, and that's like a really just good premise that I don't think has been done outside of that, where it's like show people like after the tragedy.
It's a show where you get flashbacks to it, so you still get your It Part 1 scares, but like the big core of the character writing is like how fucked up these people are in their own unique ways because of their past trauma. And maybe it's because this is a slave to the book, right? Maybe the book just doesn't have those themes as strong. It's a very straight continuation, and the book interlaces the story So it's more like this is how the kids got scared, and this is how the adults got scared, and that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it, Bradley, as this is a big event for you.
Oh, I will.
Oh, you will.
Oh.
I can't wait to hear about it on the next Roundabout cast.
Get ready for the actual It review next week.
I mean, say what you will. I won't even defend myself.